So he is very much I hate everyone in the world, as he should. Hey everyone, it's Sunny. Welcome to another book rec video. Today we're doing one of my favorite God tier book trope, which is I hate everyone but you. Today I'm gonna be recommending some books with the I hate everyone but you trope in it. Listen, this trope hits every single time. When a character is like super mean or closed off or has like this very cutthroat, cruel reputation, but they have a soft spot for just one character. Listen. So good. So I'm just gonna jump right into it. So the first book that I'll recommend for this trope is Defy the Night by 𝐤𝐬𝐬𝐬. Oh wait, honestly, can I just say that I felt kind of bamboozled by the marketing for this book. I don't know why. Look at the book cover right here. Does this not look like a dystopian book cover to you? And when I read it, I actually had whiplash because I was like, what? Kind of dystopian, but it's more like fantastical. I was just confuzzled. So our two main characters in this series is... Wait, I'm like trying to figure out how to spin this in a way that's like, no. Okay. I feel like I was actually like smooth brain when I was reading this book because I was genuinely very shocked by a plot twist that happens in like the very beginning of this book. I look back and I'm like, everyone must have been able to guess this. It's a plot twist that's like not even the plot twist. It's like, it's literally just like to set up the rest of the series and the rest of the plot, but I was like genuinely shocked. Anyway, there are two main characters here. A prince, a boy named 𝐸𝐸. We'll call him Corey for short. Just kidding, just his brother does that. I did make a Pinterest board for on my Pinterest account called Corey. I'm kind of in love with him. Oh, also, all of you guys always ask like in my comments where to find my Pinterest account. It's gonna be impossible to find my name because I have like one of the most generic Korean names ever, but I always have it linked in my description under my social media. Pinterest do be my favorite form of social media, so yeah, it's linked in my description. You can see all my Pinterest boards that I make for all my books and all my book characters. So I did make one for Corey. Here it is. Excuse me, I love you. He's kind of like I'm cruel to everybody. He's hated. He's literally like the most hated boy in the kingdom. Everyone hates him. There's two brothers who rule this kingdom after their parents were like brutally assassinated right in front of them when they were like kids. The younger brother is Corey, Prince Corey. I need to stop saying Corey as if like I'm a close acquaintance of. He is our main character. His brother has turned into like the new ruler of the kingdom. He made his younger brother kind of like the hand from Game of Thrones, pretty much does everything for the king, whereas his brother makes like all these decisions. Corey, oh my gosh, Prince Corey is the one who has to like execute all of the king's demands. So that includes like punishment and execution, like making examples of people, all of this stuff that they have to do to like scare people into submission pretty much. The king has to like remain a good image in order to like be well favored by the people, but somebody has to do like the dirty work, and that's 𝐸𝐸. You know what I mean? So that's why 𝐸𝐸 has this image of like I'm literally cruel to everyone. He has to like maintain that image, but he hates it. It's totally not him at all. He hates what he does and it actually kills him inside, but he like can't tell anyone. He just like has all this inner turmoil, like self-hatred because of it. So that's like where the I'm cruel to everyone but you. Oh, the role is called the King's Justice. I just found it here. Yeah, so King Harrison is the older brother, Prince 𝐸𝐸 is the younger brother, and he's the King's Justice. Our other main character, it's dual POV, so she's the other POV, is a girl named Tessa. She's kind of like the Robin Hood of this kingdom. The kingdom has been plagued by this like disease that's so random and sporadic, fatal, like absolutely deadly. That's the main issue prevailing in the kingdom right now. The only cure that they found is this one plant called moonflower. Moonflower has obviously now been monopolized because capitalism. Only the rich is able to afford it. It's so expensive. So Tessa steals moonflowers from like the kingdom's private garden and then distributes it to like the poorer villages. But it's like very dangerous, right? Like if you're caught stealing, you're gonna get executed, probably by the King's Justice. Okay, wait, can I just say this book was actually like graphic and gory and I was not expecting it at all. I have a weak heart, okay? I'm squeamish. I was actually reading it like this. But anyway, that's Tessa. Things really complicated, get really juicy when Tessa and 𝐸𝐸 end up crossing paths. I'm not going to explain how because it's kind of a spoiler. 𝐸𝐸 is like cruel to everyone. He's had to play this terrible role of being the cruel, ruthless, cutthroat guy who murders people. He's had to do that for his entire life. He doesn't get really a day off. The only time ever that he is allowed to like be actually himself and not play this role, the part of him that he shows to Tessa only. Okay, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Go read this book. Okay, the next book that I want to talk about is 𝐬𝐿egendborn by Tracy Deonn. Oh my gosh, I'm actually screaming and crying and throwing up thinking about the sequel that's coming out. 𝐬𝐸gendborn is a YA urban fantasy. Our main character is a girl named Bree, and she goes to this university campus and she uncovers like this whole secret society of people called 𝐬𝐸gendborn. They're kind of like descendants of King Arthur's knights, and so she ends up like infiltrating the society, and on this university campus she meets two people. Well, okay, obviously she meets more than two people, but anyway, she meets two people. One is a boy named Nick, and okay, I love Nick, okay? He's like the golden boy. He's so nice. Like I would have a crush on him in real life, but I'm so partial to a I hate everyone but you character. So let's talk about Cell, who is the mysterious, dark-haired, mysterious, brooding, yeah, you already know. No one like really knows pretty much anything about him. Everyone knows of him, but no one really like knows him because he doesn't really let anyone like get close to him, and like he doesn't tell anyone about pretty much anything about himself. Like I'm so excited for the sequel because right at the end of book 1 is when we first get like a little glimpse of like what he's actually like. It really had me thirsting for more, let me tell you that. He definitely has like I'm closed off to everyone but you. He keeps like the world at arm's length and doesn't let anyone really in, except like I said right at the end of book 1 when he lets Bree in a little bit as they like try to work together. He kind of like opens up to her a little bit. That really got me grabbing for breadcrumbs. Oh, I love like a, you know, just like the trope of like I'm never gonna let anyone close to me except for you, and like you really have to work for it. I want to crack the mystery. Next book that I would recommend with this trope in it is Jade Fire Gold by 𝐤𝐬𝐳. Again, it's between a prince and kind of like a commoner girl. Oh, I forget all the characters' names. I'm so sorry. Okay, nice. Dual POV between a prince named 𝐤𝐬 and then a commoner girl named An or An. Okay, I'm Korean, so when I see 𝐤𝐻N, I want to say An, like the Korean last name. 𝐤𝐬, his family was in power, but then people murdered his family and they had to go on the run. So now he's like exiled and on the run. Everyone thinks that he died, but he's actually here. He's been like waiting to like get his revenge. So that's him. So he's very much I hate everyone in the world, as he should, because he was actually done dirty by this entire kingdom. One day he's like in the market, he's just having a time, and then he bumps into this girl named Anne. It's so cute. Okay, I don't know how to explain this well. I'm like not gonna do a good job. One of my favorite like tropes or one of my favorite scenes is like if we were just both like normal people, then how do you think we would have met? Maybe in another life we would have, you know, just like been normal people, like bumped into each other on the street instead of literally like being murdered. Like, you know what I mean? I think that it's really cute when there's like this really high stake plot in the background, right? But then in the middle of that, it's kind of like a mundane, cute, like wholesome love story, and that's kind of what it feels like here when he first meets Anne. Like it just feels like they could be normal people who bump into each other at the marketplace because he sees her and he just gets like a little like giddy like schoolboy crush on her, and I think that's so cute, the juxtaposition between that and like his mission, and then his friends are like being like, you have a crush on her, you know what I mean? Like I think that's so cute. It's like the contrast, and the two of them, their paths end up getting crossed, and yeah, it's just wholesome. Okay, the next I hate everyone but you book that I would recommend is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This one really takes like I hate everyone but you. It like really spins that on its head, like because at the same time it's I hate everyone especially you. So this book series is so popular. I'm kind of late to the bandwagon, but it's about a girl named Jude, and she's a human who's been brought up in the fairy world. Jude and her sisters have been like targeted to like hatred and bullying from all these fairies for their entire lives because they're the only humans there, but especially from Prince Carden and his like posse of friends. Specifically always targets her and really hates her, like to the point that in the beginning they literally just attempt murder. It kind of doesn't make a lot of sense at the beginning because you're like, why especially her? Like it's just so random, it makes no sense. Like the whole idea of this book obviously is like there's a fine line between love and hate. You find out, story goes on obviously, that it's because like he feels some type of way towards her or whatever. I feel like I can't say anything else without like truly spoiling like very specific things that happened in the book. I feel like that's the best way to summarize it. I hate everyone especially you at the same time as I hate everyone but you. But I honestly love the fact that Jude is like such a baddie. Like she really stands her ground really well. Otherwise it would be like very super uber uncomfortable to read, but because of the fact that Jude like doesn't stand for this and she stands up for herself and she gets her revenge, that's why this is like so entertaining to read. Okay, that's what I'm gonna say about that. The next book that I would recommend, no one is Pride, but I do have to recommend this because this is truly the epitome of I hate everyone in the world but you. Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Literally one of my all-time god tier couples of all time in all of literature. I follow so many POVs in this book series, but literally this guy is the epitome of I hate everyone but you. Kaz Brekker. This book takes place in a city called Ketterdam, and it's like very grungy, very like dirty, very much giving like Peaky Blinders. It's run by criminal activity, gang activity. Our main character, Kaz Brekker, he's the head of a gang called the Dregs. He's like wicked smart, but he also has like this reputation, and he's literally called Dirty Hands, that's his nickname, because he has this reputation that he'll do anything that he needs for like money, pretty much. Very cutthroat. I'm actually gonna act up talking about this, but his whole thing is that he's super uber cutthroat, except the only person who's ever really seen his vulnerabilities and the only person that he truly trusts enough to let them see vulnerabilities even though he won't admit that to himself, is to a girl named 𝐬𝐻. And 𝐬𝐻 is kind of like the spy of the group. So her role in the gang is to like sneak around and like get information, like that kind of stuff. She's like Kaz's like secret weapon. Kaz is cruel to every single person. He's not nice to anyone, even like the other 4 characters. The only person that he ever is not cruel to, even though he tries to be, is to 𝐬𝐻. You would think that he just doesn't feel anything, but then you see in his POV, you see his internal thoughts, and you realize that he just kind of has like a cute like schoolboy innocence type like crush on her. He doesn't really know how to handle it, and he doesn't want to acknowledge it either, wanting to say stuff to her but like not being able to for some reason. He has such like a tough exterior, and then you go inside his head and he's just like a panicked schoolboy. They're like truly one of my all-time favorites. This book is one of my all-time favorite books. That's like not a secret. So definitely read Six of Crows. The last book that I want to recommend is If We Were Villains. This also takes this trope and kind of spins it on his head. I'm gonna try my best not to spoil anything about this because I kind of think like the less you know, the better. It's really like dark academia. It takes place in like an acting conservatory. It's like one of those like institutions that are super competitive, and you get trained, and then after you like graduate or after you like finish this conservatory, you're like pretty much set. Like it's super prestigious and very cutthroat. People drop out all the time. But we're following the seniors, and there's only like 6 of them. There's really not a lot. Their specialty is like Shakespeare, and it's kind of like a mystery, like past, present, or like a story within a story kind of. In the present day, we followed one of the main characters named Oliver. He was just released from prison, and we follow him and the detective talking. The detective is trying to figure out what happened all those years ago at the conservatory, and then at the same time we're figuring out what happened, and it's like a murder mystery. They spend like almost all of their time together, and it's like a deep exploration to all of their relationships, but it's kind of strange because you wouldn't really exactly call them friends, and there's just a lot of drama and like tea that happens between them. But what took me by surprise is that I absolutely loved one of the relationships. I'm not gonna say who it is because I feel like it's kind of a spoiler. They kind of all hate each other a little bit, but within all of that, I have like this really special soft spot, I guess, like for each other. By the end, they have like this deep love for each other, kind of a secret. It's just very interesting. I would just say like go read this blind and you'll know what I'm talking about. I just really loved following that relationship amid all of the tomfoolery and all of the snake behavior that happens between all of these friends. Yeah, this is like such a good book. Kind of took the I hate everyone but you trope and like slipped it in. It's just very interesting and really fun to read. That's all that I have for this video. Those are all the books. I know that this trope is in so many other books. Be sure to comment down below any other books with this trope in it that you love that you can recommend to me because I'm always looking for a new one. But yeah, I think that's going to be all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe down below if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell if you want to be notified every single time that I upload. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at sunnykimreads. My Goodreads and Pinterest are always linked in my description underneath like the social, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.